Oh, hey, we're live. I'm Brent Leary. It's Friday, noontime here in the East Coast, but it's a special Small Biz Breakdown edition because it's Friday the 13th. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm not really not into that kind of stuff, but some people are. So we'll have a careful edition of Small Biz Breakdown. Let me see if there's any tomfoolery going out in Oregon. Leland, is there any like Friday the 13th stuff going on yet out there?
We had it early. So Monday we had 106-degree weather. Just down the road there was a big, huge fire, a lot of smoke. But today seems oddly, eerily calm.
So
I don't trust it.
your Friday the 13th happened on Monday, the whatever it was. Then
Yep.
that's a little different. Let's see if there's any tomfoolery going on in the Mecca, Medina, where Madam Mike Drop herself is, even a Taylor.
Hi, everyone. No tomfoolery in Medina, Ohio. No, it's blissfully boring here, which is exactly how we like it.
Blissfully boring. There's a ring to it. All right, so we checked on the tomfoolery in the West, in the Midwest. I'm going with a different name. I'm going to see if there's any skullduggery going on in our nation's capital where Shashi is. Hey, Shashi.
Hey everyone, yeah, we are looking forward to tomorrow's big parade going through the streets of Washington, D.C.
Are you going to be marching in the parade there, Shashi?
No, actually, I have a wedding to attend. Thankfully, it was in the morning and far away from where the road closures are.
Either that or you're going to have like a root canal or, something to go on at that time. But yeah, who knows. All right. Our usual next trip would be with Ramon Ray, but he's not with us at the moment. We don't know if he'll be showing up or not. We'll leave the light on for him. But that just leaves one person. He is the cold one. Some call him the bold one. I'm more likely to call him the old one at this point. But he is John Colder Ice Lawson.
All right, yay! Speaking of blissfully boring, Brent Leary.
Well, if you can say it, then I'll take little numbers. All right. I'm literally just getting back from like my sixth trip in 7 weeks. I'm gonna be a little bit incoherent, I think. I'm just glad to be here with y'all. I was in Chicago. I was at the Salesforce Connections. It was a really interesting conference because most of the conferences I've been to really focus on all this agentic stuff from a customer service kind of perspective. This was full-blown marketing. So if I can mix some stuff in there from that, because I did find a lot of interesting stuff actually. But anyway, as I like to start this show every week, I don't even know what the hell happened in like financial terms. I think we had some good inflation or expected inflation numbers. They came in, I think it was like 2.4 or 2.3% annual, which is pretty much in line. That's pretty much the only like economic numbers I've heard because we just been deluged with a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but I'll just ask you all. I'll start with Leland.
Yeah, I think that the inflation went below expected numbers. Like they expected it to go at a certain point and it went down below before that. The one thing that I did see, Trump and China did come up to an agreement with the trade. From the footnotes that I saw, it's okay. But at least something was hammered out and, no more 120, 200% tariffs. It's, I believe with the goods coming into America, it's a 10% tariff, and goods going into China, it's 55% tariff.
That's the other way around.
Is it? I thought it was okay. John, you know this better than I do, so. But at least something was, hammered out, and hopefully, we get some stability when it comes to all this.
I think we're also going to get some higher gas prices due to some stuff that just happened, but yeah. I digress. I digress. Shashi, what's how you doing this week? How are you feeling about things?
Good. Like you, I was also at the Infotech conference for the whole week, not traveling as much as you, but didn't pay as much attention to news as I would. But one thing that I've been noticing, which is helpful for a small business, is the people who are not worried about what's happening with tariffs, economy, and everything are actually boomers. And they control like more than 50% of the wealth in America. And there are some figures that say 70%. So what they're saying is the people who are very good at saving money, like if they had union jobs that paid well, they had a lot stashed away, they are feeling good, except they're feeling bad that their kids are not doing the same as them. So they're saying, hey, we can afford a vacation to Paris, and my son is worried about where the next rent check is coming from. So I think generationally,
That's what I was gonna say. They know exactly where it's coming from, their pocket. That's why they're not feeling it.
yeah. So I think in terms of business, sometimes I feel like we want to go with the next, like, hey, we need to cater to millennials, so let's all do TikTok. But the people who are paying your bills are probably still doing whatever traditionally they were doing to go and support new businesses. That I thought I didn't think of it before.
Yeah. Well, I think the other reason why that baby boomer, shoot, anybody that was in the market, I'll just say off of my looking at my investment stuff, I'm actually at an all-time high now.
Yeah.
It went from that far down when that what was it called, Freedom Day, or I don't know, April the 2nd. I just know a day which will live in infamy, when we all of it crashed, and now it's back to actually I'm all-time high. So I think that's probably why a lot of people aren't as nervous as they were almost 2 months ago, because their at least their retirement accounts are looking pretty good. Even
I am all over the place. So personally, I am coming off doing a SCORE webinar yesterday where our topic was building a referral network, because I have been beating the drum of investing in relationships and just not doing so much spray and pray type of marketing. So I'm very eager to hear what you got at Salesforce. And once again, those SCORE attendees, this was one of their highest attended webinars. And I think that those businesses are definitely looking for some alternative ways of marketing where they are probably investing a little bit more time than money. Now, granted, this is, a specific focused demographic. But as I look at the numbers for this week, now I'm only looking at stuff since May, and I think it's really interesting that the NFIB Optimism Index is 3 points higher. This was in May, the last time they took it. But I think the interesting thing, the Uncertainty Index is 2 points higher, right? So they're more optimistic and they're more uncertain. And to what you're saying, Brent, there's been a 10-point jump in owners expecting better business conditions. So I think that's speaking to what you guys were talking about. Top concern for small business owners, taxes, because remember, our number of small business owners, the bulk of them are non-employers. Mm-hmm. And the bulk of those people are making $60,000, $70,000 a year. This is like what they're going to pay taxes on. And so they're concerned about that. So that's what I'll just stop there.
Oh, that's a nice place to stop. Unfortunately, we have to go over to, Lawson to hear what he has to say.
Yeah. Why unfortunate? Why?
He's always got something good. Tell us, John. Lay it on us.
Oh, there's nothing good in the news today. But, it is what it is. I mean, everything's peachy keen.
Somehow I don't think you're
as I sip
leveling
my tea
with us. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're just waiting.
Okay.
We're waiting.
You're waiting for well
the next thing.
The
You
next,
know,
no.
it's I think you know, it's like when you have a kid and you realize that this kid is the one that's going to drive you crazy, and you just get used to crazy in your household. That's where we are. And so
Mhm.
at some point it levels off and it's like, okay, I'm used to the crazy kid. So we got a crazy kid in the Capitol and we're getting used to it.
So we're at a point where we're used to this. I mean, that's kind of
Well, I mean, you know it's coming. You always know something else, something else, something
okay.
else. You
The
know what I'm
certain
saying? So it's like
the
you're not
certainty is in
certain.
the certainty is in something crazy is going to happen.
Like
Exactly.
stop wishing things are different than they are.
Just
Right.
embrace the chaos. Is that what we're saying?
If you can. Because there's always something worse around the corner.
Damn, what a! It is Friday the 13th. We are definitely feeling it. Wow. Okay.
No, but
Nowhere to go.
as human beings, we are very adaptable. And sometimes, even if it is painful, we kind of,
Yep.
hey, if I can't change it, I must learn to live with it. Could be an attitude that people seek.
That's good. It's real good.
Yep.
That sounds
I,
horrible.
I'll also
But okay.
wait. I'll also tell you an example. Like I lived in Russia for 3 years, right? When
You
their
shouldn't.
economy
You might
started,
want to say that too loudly in DC. Currently are. Well, go ahead.
Got a double agent over here. We got a double agent.
but like when when the inflation became so high, I think it was in like 100 or 200%. The pensions of people didn't increase. So they had like problems with food, whereas like you saw one end of it that, hey, so much of money is coming in dollars and everything. So people had to like sell things that they were keeping at home. So that's my example of like sometimes you have to survive, right? So you got to do what you have to do and live with those circumstances. That's what.
Well, that kind of maps to what even has been saying for months, like the hunkering down kind of mentality. How long can can we be in that kind of mentality before we get crazy?
Years.
Decades. I mean, think about it. I think about this a lot, you know, because I'm originally from the former Yugoslavia. My entire development team and social media group, unintentionally, it just so happens, are in my old home country. And so I get to hear all kinds of different things. And it occurs to me, as you guys know, like in all over Belgrade, there's all the students are protesting and everyone's protesting and so on and so forth. And when I talk to my social media manager and she's like, well, I got to go to the store and do whatever. I'm like, how is life for you over there? And she said, it's been chaos for so long that we're just like used to it now. And everyone goes and does the things they have to do. And they have been living this way for decades. And yet, it's not ideal. It's certainly not the way I remember it when I had been visiting there and doing different things. And yet life goes on. Right. And I think that my observation, I don't know, Shashi, how it is for you, but as an immigrant and someone who has, come to this country and been here for a really long time, it always, when people abroad ask me about my thoughts on Americans, I just always say something like, I find Americans insanely optimistic and lucky. Right. Because the last time we had we had disruption on our land was during the Civil War. Right. There are dozens of countries on this planet who know nothing but stuff getting blown up every day. And, you can't go to the market. I have friends who zigzag to the church for their wedding. In her wedding dress, she is zigzagging through Sarajevo. She got married in like 1992 or something. So there are people that this is like their life. And we get upset. Well, I have to admit, I get upset when a particular brand that I want from the grocery store is not there. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't find marjoram for the life of me. I've been looking for marjoram for like an entire week. Where is it? Right. So, and I'm like, what's going on? So I feel like we get a little bit spoiled. And we don't really know. I don't know, Shashi, what do you think?
Actually, it's a very good point. This is more, it's not cultural or religious or anything, but for a very long time, the people on the street in India believed like we need three things: roti, kapda, makan, meaning we need food, we need clothing, and we need shelter, right? And I have watched people who like worked as laborers and things like that. Their faces are so happy and bright. You know why? Because they know that they're going to get their next meal. They have a place to stay. And I keep thinking about my own thing when, you feel jealous of somebody driving a better car. So I have learned to get up in the morning, and when I go out of the house to pick up my newspaper, yes, I read the printed newspaper. I think, thank you, whoever is making this happen. The air is fresh. I don't have to worry about smoke, smog, and everything else, right? So I think the happiness is probably state of mind. So, like your friend in Sarajevo, like despite whatever the circumstances, they are still happy. They're just saying, yes, it's true. There is disruption, but we are trying to stay happy. We are satisfied with what we have, kind of attitude.
I once heard this story, and it was a guy from North Korea who defected to South Korea, and he started getting adjusted into South Korea, and his depression level skyrocketed because now he had to concern himself with paying the mortgage, doing all these things. He had this horrible life in North Korea, but the difference in South Korea, the different types of pressures just got to him, and he started to develop really horrible depression, suicidal thoughts, I believe, even something that never really crossed his mind when he was in North Korea, because it was something that he knew all of his life, and then he was thrusted into something that he didn't know, and he, different types of stressors that he wasn't acclimated to.
All I can say about one of these things, even though I think you're wrong, I think there's currently a civil war going on here because our president has pulled in the Marines to go to California. He's federalized the National Guard because, there's so much going on. People are just, at war.
It's not a civil war.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I'm
No.
sorry. No civil war, no war.
I'm just saying, Brent, if you listen to Shashi and if you kind of hear what's underneath what I'm saying, is that and I think you are proving my point exactly. You are proving my point, right? Until we who have lived here for a long time, right? And unless you have spent months and months somewhere or whatever, I'm just saying, you're not zigzagging to the store, right? You don't have soldiers walking into your house. You don't have houses being blown up, because that is war, right? Yeah. But those things are happening someplace else for us, and we care about that and we observe that, but that is in no way, shape, or form what we are experiencing. So I'm not minimizing what's happening anywhere. I'm not at all. And at the same time, we still have, I have to tell myself, right? Just like you, Shashi, I'm always have to tell myself, like,
yep.
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, we are like at 3.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, that was a joke.
I know. Oh, okay. I know. Oh, was it? Was it?
Come
I
on.
didn't know.
Yeah,
I lied.
Well, apparently some people didn't know.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
No, there's California, the so-called insurrection that is going on now, where the president had to call in the Marines and nationalize the was it the National Guard or whatever they call it? I was just being funny because all the stuff that you guys talked about, that's real. What's going on here ain't real at all. That's
so we are all on the same page then.
I guess so. I don't know. But let's do this. Shout out Amber. Hey Amber, thanks for joining us as usual.
Hey, Amber.
And those are sad stories. And I guess we do kind of take things for we do take things for granted because we haven't had a major war break out on our homeland, so to speak, and nobody alive even knows what that's like. I mean, here in the U.S., nobody knows what it's like. Your stories are things that are completely foreign to us, even if we have folks that are trying to make it out like we have something like that going on. There's nothing like that going on. Kind of hate that we're having to deal with that. But anyway, I want to talk about something that nobody's talking about.
Yay!
AI.
Oh.
Such a novel topic.
Oh, let's do that.
Well,
again.
I mean, I'm cynical. I'm coming from a cynical kind of place, and I even put it out there. I've seen some really cool things that are currently being done with AI. And I would say that's about 1% of the stuff I'm seeing done with AI. Most of the stuff I'm seeing done with AI, and I shot this the Colder Ice. Are you sick of the baby meme yet? Where people are using the AI to like make well-known people into babies. And I mean, can you get away from this stuff? I am so sick and tired of the way people are using this. It's just as a toy. It's just like this is the hot meme. It's about making AI make what was the guy? Tracy Morgan into a little baby, and he's cussing like a sailor.
Because
but I mean, at the same time, you got the NBA Finals and an AI commercial that took 2 days to make. And
is that a good thing or not? I don't know.
It was a great thing if you look at probably what the cost versus the amount of effort that was saved into making a commercial that actually resonated very well with the audience. They didn't even know it was AI. They thought it was a really cool commercial.
All right, try it again and again and again and again and again and again.
It will.
That's going to wear off very quickly.
Well,
very
this is not
no,
the baby.
You'll get used to it. It's not going to wear off. It's not
going to get used to it. It'll get used to it. Oh, it's just another commercial.
It is. Yeah, that's what it'll be.
And people are going to get really good at it. I had a really awesome conversation with a guy that I hadn't spoken to in 18 years. He used to be the CEO of a manufacturing company, and then he transitioned into being a photographer, a professional photographer, right? So let's call that art, right? Because he's in that space. He's doing exhibits, and he has exhibits in different cities in the country. And we got into a conversation about AI, and he said something that was so interesting. In the same way that you have like digital artists and this type of thing, he is familiar with the community of artists who are creating art with AI and just using that medium. Because I was saying, well, gosh, if AI is creating, it's almost like it's eating itself. We talked about that like last week or the week before, where it's just working off of its own data. But he sort of gave me hope in a really optimistic way that there are artists out there pushing the capabilities of AI, whether it's in video, whether it's images, and what they can create with
or
that.
Making a baby.
Well, and baby's okay, but I think what's really interesting to me is that I can see, in the same way that we have artists that are doing things, I don't know, they're just going to use the medium.
Let's
and
put it
I'm
like
excited
this.
about
Nobody
that.
put out a tool that said, this is the baby making tool. Somebody human said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I turned a baby of an adult into this and added their, vocal track? That's human ingenuity.
Yes.
By using AI. AI is just the tool. AI didn't spin up a baby cartoon. A human did. And that's human innovation. And good on it.
Yep.
I'm interested in how well this is going to just improve small businesses, because like if you think back like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, if you wanted professional photos of your products, you had to hire someone, they had to do professional editing, it costed thousands of dollars. Now you can do it yourself. 10 years ago, if you wanted to make yourself a professional commercial, you had to bring someone in, it cost thousands of dollars. Now you can do it on your smartphone. You can do editing software. You can, there's so many tools out there. And so I just see this as just another step into be able to bring really good quality commercials, tools, to the small business owner, so that they can get something that is on the level of something like a national company at a fraction of the cost. And that's what I'm really kind of interested in, is
And
how well.
And there will still be levels of expertise, right? Like, can you build your own website today? Yeah. But what are the really cool people doing, right? There are still those people for whom developing websites with certain features, it's, I've been trying to play with some stuff. It really takes something. And I think we're going to get a level of specialization. And I think that's new opportunities for new entrepreneurs with a different skill set, which is another topic.
All right. Shashi, got anything positive to add on to this? Oh, is he freezing? I thought he was just looking up for answers.
Oh, here he is.
Yeah, the question about, like, all of us are discussing generative AI.
Oh man, your connection is going a little off there. And it's
Okay,
usually me
sorry.
that has that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So it's all about generative AI, and that's a very, like a product level, like what is the actual output level looking at AI. AI has been around for like
ever
decades, right? It's very good at solving big problems. Can we cure cancer very quickly? Can we find a cure? Can we find medicines? Can we find like new drugs? Can we weather patterns and things like that? So people have to think about it as, how can we analyze? How can we predict? And then what do we need to generate? The biggest successful use case of AI has been in financial institutions and banks, where hold time is reduced, which means that satisfaction has gone up, revenue has gone up, because there isn't a single person in this world who say like, I like 10 minutes of hold time music, I love it, right? So those are all practical use cases. Now what's happened now is top down, and I spoke to a lot of technology leaders. Top down, they say we need to implement AI. That's a waste of money. What we need to do is we need to find use cases where AI can actually impact something, right? Like I think John had a use case where I think it was manufacturing, like service managers having like tons and tons of spreadsheets that they had to analyze. Great AI use case, right? And so I'm actually telling technology leaders, don't be the judge of what AI to implement. Ask everybody to give their use case, prioritize that, and then figure out how close to revenue, customer satisfaction, or employee happiness that your use case is. You can create images, big deal. You can create websites, but they're not going to work 100% to your satisfaction. So you might save a little bit money with agencies. This AI ad that was created by NFL, I bet there was a lot of manpower involved. Maybe the time was not as much as it would take like 8 to 10 months for an ad. Now it was probably done in days, right? But there was a lot of human involvement. There'll come a day when, right now, if you look at AI copy, you can make out it's AI because all of us are sending the same kind of emails. So actually, I've stopped using AI. I thought like, hey, let it be a little bit more intelligent. I use a lot of words that don't make sense to people, so I thought AI will help me. But then I realized maybe that's the special sauce I have. So that's my take on AI, like analyze, predict, and you could use it within your small business for engaging with your customers, figure out which customer hasn't come for 3-4 months, send them an email, send them an offer, things like that.
Also, financial services use it for anomaly
Good.
detection.
I ranted for a bit.
No, yeah, that was good. No, I see. I like
I mean,
that
I
kind of
have to
stuff.
give my voice. Yeah.
Oh, go finish up, Shashi.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like password resets. Every company used to have, like, you had to call in and reset your password. Now it's so easy and it's also secure, right? So there isn't a human being who's like kind of listening to you and copying down your password. So that was a huge release. I like it when my bank tells me, can you read this sentence? Just so that my voice signature is the same. Because honestly, I used to call banks on behalf of my wife, and because we have Indian names, they didn't realize that it was a woman's name. But now they can. Now they tell me, like, excuse me, sir, can you call your wife on the line?
No,
So anomaly detection, huge use case. So,
yeah, no, I like. There's so many interesting things that are going on, but it's just my opinion. It feels like there are only a few, as Shashi used the term use cases. There's only a few use cases that the multitudes are funneling into, and they tend to be on crazy, goofy stuff like making grown people look like the kids but talk like adults, and other, being able to create pink giraffes or write a sonnet in 50 words or that kind of stuff. We've been doing this stuff for what, 2.5 years now, almost 3, and it feels to me like there's still only a handful of use cases that the masses are funneling into, and when they funnel into them, that means we get deluged with a bunch of nonsense. Now, of course, there's some really cool stuff going on, but in terms of numbers, they're getting slaughtered from all the weird videos that are getting created, the off color imagery. It's not the meaningful stuff that most people are funneling into. It's this other stuff, and maybe that's just because that's now easy to do, and unfortunately a lot of people use AI because some of the things that they're using it for are easy. You would hope that then the next step would be, all right, now that I don't have to do that stuff, how do I think about things differently? How can I do things that I wasn't able to dream of before? But we're not getting that because we're stuck with the damn little babies cussing stuff. And that's what when do small businesses get past the novelty? I thought we would be past the novelty stage with a lot of stuff, but we are definitely not, because we find new novelties to create with this stuff. We don't get past the novelty, because novelty that we can get or fall into. When the small businesses start doing some of the things like Shashi, start focusing and embracing AI to get rid of the stuff that we really don't like to do, but allow us to think about things differently and do things differently. I haven't seen
When
that
it gets easy, it's not easy, Brent. I mean, when it gets
That's
easy,
what I
you
said.
will.
The easy stuff, we seem to there's always going to be easy stuff. There's always going to be new things to do novelty wise with this AI. When do we get past this is great, I love this, to all right, well, man, how can I actually do something real here? I'm just waiting.
I mean, people are doing a lot of reels. Anyway.
I'm
Whatever.
talking about not just the 1%ers. Okay. I'm talking about can we increase?
I mean, but let's put it like this. Let's put it like this.
Least?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. All right. But I mean, that if you're setting yourself up for failure.
I'm trying to turn this.
I'm just telling you that if you're waiting for this, moment of where everybody holds hands and gets to sing, about the great piece that we've created, it's just not going to happen. I mean, just look at the utilization of finances, right? Finances can be used for all kinds of things, but yet and still, even in our graduated, after having money and being able to transact, we're still doing stupid things with our money. It's not going to change. There's always going to be somebody that finds another stupid way that will go viral. And here we are. That's why TikTok has more users than Wikipedia. It's just not going to change, Brent. It's just not
No,
going to
I,
change.
I totally agree with you. That's why the people who wonder why the 1% keep getting further and further ahead of us, and we seem to be lagging further and further behind. It's not just because they got the money, which they do, of course, and they'll always have that, but they also are using this stuff to do things that like never have been done before, not just to have fun
Sure.
with the babies. And
But they will always
unfortunately,
be
that's
the
the way it's going to
smaller.
be.
They will always be the smaller percentage.
It doesn't have to be that small, though. It's getting smaller. That's the problem. This stuff.
No, it's
It's making
not. No,
the-
that's not true.
how
That's
how
not
much money does Elon Musk have at this point? Like $250 billion. Come on, that there was no $250 billion 10 years ago, but there's
Yeah, but there
definitely
was no
that
Mars
now,
flight 10 years ago either.
and that's
So
why I'm
what's your
saying.
point?
My point is, if the 1% use this stuff to get further and further ahead of us, and we're stuck having fun with the babies, cussing babies. That's my
Well,
point.
I'm
sorry
a
about
1%er, so I
not
don't know what
really,
that
but you're further up
I
than
think
most of us. That's for sure.
I think I think all of us agree, like we should move beyond the novelty value of AI and into like real practical use cases that are going to help our business save time, make customers happy, increase revenue.
I think that with novelty, I think Pierre said it. With novelty comes innovation. First the novelty as a way to play with it, then innovation. I remember back years ago when it was popular to put the dog ears on your photos and the nose and stuff like that. That's facial recognition, and so the algorithms improved, and now what do we have? You unlock your phone with your face. You
Yeah.
just hold it up and bam, your phone is unlocked. You don't have to put in a password and it's secure.
And you know what? The guy who created that is moving further ahead. We're the ones that's still using it and having, oh, look at the dog ears. Oh, that's funny. That's my issue. We're
yeah,
stuck on the novelty. We never move past when I say we, I'm thinking of the masses, not the 1%ers, but the masses. I agree with everybody. There's huge opportunity to leverage this stuff to do really cool things, really insightful things for you. But the masses get stuck on the novelty. That's my only issue. Novelty could potentially move you forward, like Pierre is saying, but not if you get stuck in the novelty over and over and over again. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, through the novelty, like, yeah, we're making like a ton of these videos, and I'm betting you anything that these AI companies are like, oh God, we're getting bombarded with baby videos. We need to make this cheaper. We need to make this more efficient. We need to make this faster. And then out of that is going to come cheaper and cheaper AI for small business owners, for industries as a whole. People are going to be innovating and correcting. That's where I see the playing with AI kind of ultimately going. And either that or people would be like, oh, you're making another baby video? Ban. Oh, you're making another Studio Ghibli profile picture? Ban. We don't want you playing with it, but out of play, they're able to optimize, they're able to innovate.
Once again, but most of us are going to be stuck playing. I mean,
that's not going to change.
I'm not saying it's going to. Why can't it change though? I guess
because
it doesn't matter.
It's already anymore. It's the 80-20 rule. 80%
no, it's the
95-5
rule.
It's the 80-20 is 95-5. It could be 75-20.
99 5 years from now.
Look, man, there's always going to be a need for an order here sign in a restaurant, because if not, people would go hungry.
How can we get more people? How can we get a higher percentage of small businesses looking at using AI, not from just productivity and cost, and I can spit out a whole bunch of nonsense and it doesn't take me a lot of time and money. That's where a lot of this thought is. It's do things cheaper, do things more productive in terms of my time, but not then take the additional time that you have to really focus on how can I use this AI to do things that I've never been able to do before. I see people just stuck in I want to do cheap and I want to be less time doing it. I don't care anything else about anything else. I just want that. How do we get smaller businesses to bust out of that well, I should say more small business, because you're right. There are a lot of them, but percentage-wise, there's not. So how do we get more people to think like that, as opposed to be happy with the productivity and the cost reduction stuff?
You got to know what to ask. So I have been, I've actually been playing with GenSpark this past week, actually for a couple of weeks, but I wanted to do more of it.
That's my favorite tool.
Is that your favorite? We can talk about that, right?
I just tried that for the first time this week too. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was going through this process of trying to see what are all the different things I can do, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I noticed a very interesting pattern, Brent, to your exact point. When I see AI experts working on what I'm going to call advanced AI usage, whether they're using N8N to create an agent, or whether they're using make.com, or whether they are uploading a spreadsheet like you would in GenSpark. And especially in GenSpark, they're like, wow, you can upload these spreadsheets. And the guy is going on about, you can get this information and you can get that information. And then it occurred to me, you have to know what to ask. As a small business owner, you need to know what to ask. And honestly, since graduate school, I have not been pushed in that direction. Maybe you and Shashi, who are more like analysts and have to look at these things, but you need to know, for example, all the different ratios in your financials, and what is the story that's telling about your company. And then when you look at these certain marketing stats, what is that telling you about your marketing process? What is it telling when you look at your Google Analytics? What is that saying about your avatar or your ideal customer? And those are things that require thinking and time. You need to know what your funnel looks like to see, where are people stuck? Well, okay, so if people are stuck, what number should I be looking at? What should I be collecting? When I was at Zoho, one of my very first times, I met that Mexican farmer. Do you know the guy I'm talking about, Brent?
Yeah.
Who was using Zia early on. And he was collecting spreadsheets and measuring things like, how much water did I use on this plot of land? And what did I plant on this plot of land? And he went into infinite detail.
Yeah, but see, actually, hold on a second, because you said something, I think that is the misnomer. You don't need to know what to ask. You just need to feed it into ChatGPT and let it do its thing.
But you got to know what to, I actually, you brought up you brought up another point. The other point, use case of AI that nobody is doing, is this idea of using the AI to help you think things through. Which I think is what you're saying.
There's a lot of that going on, but maybe at the enterprise level more than at the
to your point, John, where like
most of the small business owners that I deal with, that's what they're figuring out.
Yeah, like it's using the AI to say, this is the information I have, this is what I'm trying to find out, what's missing, and kind of using the AI. I'm going to call it backwards, but it's more in the top of the funnel critical thinking part, rather than in the task.
No, that's a good use case.
Hey, shout out to Pierre. Pierre agrees with Ivana. You need to know what parameters to ask. Mm-hmm. AI helps on iteration, but should not be the final thinker for the agentic stuff is actually going in that direction.
But most people don't even know what, like you said, if you don't know what to ask, how do you learn how to
that's what
figure out what to ask?
And that's speaking to the new thing of search. That was a news story where the CEO of Google was talking about how they're going to integrate AI into search, and it's sounding like the blue links are going to go away. But then if you do a test, and I actually did this, I was looking for something and I wanted a list of certain, like I want to list the companies or a certain best whatever. And I did it on Google and it gives you one thing. and I did it on different platforms, and I got different lists. Of course, I had my own list. And what I thought was really interesting is then I asked it, I'm like, hey, I have these companies on my list. Why don't you have it on yours? And you know what the answer was?
I'm sorry.
They
You're right.
don't appear often enough. They're not referenced
That's what they
often
say.
enough. So just like regular Google, it's like if you're big enough, then it's almost going to be this like self-reinforcing thing. It may not be the best answer, but it's going to be the most popular referenced answer.
Yeah, but I mean that happens anyway. Okay.
I'm not saying it shouldn't.
I'm just
saying.
I mean, this is what happens when you have new technology. I mean, when we first got Google, it was the people that, knew that it depended on links so that you would rank higher. And once they figured that out, they started creating more links so that it would rank higher. I mean, there's always going to be ways to do this. But segmenting into this, I will say that I went to ChatGPT during this show and asked ChatGPT, give me the small business news for the week. And all of the links came from Small Biz Trends.
Wow. All righty.
Right.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Leland.
So authority is still actually a part of the equation.
I mean, it's like, if seeing that, I'm like, that is very, very interesting. And it's kind of hearkening all the way back to what Google thought we were going to deprecate. Now the whole thing is moving.
Full circle, boy.
And it's coming full circle. So create the good content. All the cream always rises to the top. Always. And so there's always going to be the 1% that's going to be pushing things forward, and all the other people are going to be the coffee grinds at the bottom of the cup. That's just the way it is, man.
Yeah, but they'll never be, the masses will never catch up to the 1%. I'm not saying that. It almost feels like they given up even trying to at least move up the chain, because I
don't know.
Even when
you don't think that there's a little overlap?
There might be a little, maybe
Hmm.
a little, but I don't know. I look at stuff, and I'm on, and maybe I look at the wrong stuff. I'm on YouTube a lot. I'm on, of course, other kind of social networks, and I see the content. And I'll tell you what, the other thing, and by the way, thank you for the comment, Maina, and thanks for joining us. I think you're new. I don't think we've ever seen Maina here, so thank you.
I don't know. Is she paid? She said, I agree with Brent. Could be a paid.
Moving on to what my point was. Good Lord. All right.
Welcome.
I hate you. All right. So,
Maina, ignore
anyway.
that comment. They both are friends, so they make fun of each other.
But what I look at what's going on YouTube and things that, like, I remember, and John knows this, like 3 or 4 years ago, I started watching these reaction videos, and they were little, it was like novel. It was a novelty back then. Like, people would set up these channels about reacting to music or movies, and it was hardly anybody actually doing this. But I somehow got on it, hooked into some of these things. You look now, I would say at least 10 to 20% of the YouTube channels are reaction videos. Why? Because it's easy to freaking do. It's easy to freaking put a camera on and watch something else that somebody else made and talk about it. That's the kind of what the mode we seem to be in with all this stuff. We see something that gets a little notoriety, a little popularity, and it's very easy to replicate. So what do? We replicate the hell out of it.
Yes.
It's just so annoying. That's all I'm saying.
It is. It is.
You can do so many cool things with this stuff. And what do? What everybody else is doing. That's my only issue.
That's because it's popular. Brent, you bring up a really, really fantastic point in terms of marketing, right? Because I remember in school, and there is like this misnomer, like you're supposed to, be so unique and, all this stuff. Well, that's a misnomer, right? What you need to do is you need to be someplace where people are being really successful. You want lots of competition. You want to be where there's a conversation going on. However, you want to do it better. You want to bring a unique twist to the whole thing. So it's almost like saying, are mystery, are like when you think about books and music, are these genres going to go away? No, they are not going away. Right? They just keep growing and growing. And then there are the people that you really, really like. So I don't think that these, should I call them genres? I don't know what to call them. This type of content.
Category? I don't know.
Category, whatever. That goes on. Someone hits on something new, people like it. That's the first thing they tell you. Hop on the trend. But what's going to make you unique, and the real challenge is you got to do well at it.
You got to do extremely well, because let's face it, there'll be, too bad Ramon isn't here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I'm going to say it. You can't there's not going to be another Mr. Beast anytime soon. All right. The guy did what he did. He was so early on. He did something that probably nobody ever thought could be done, having like 300 million followers, and then turn that into like getting Amazon to give you $50 million. Guess what? That attracts a lot of people who are a copycat. And guess what? Those copycatters get Nathan compared to him. And that's what I feel like a lot of what's going on with this AI stuff is something gets popular for whatever reason. Everybody starts to want to do it because they don't really like what they do. They like the end result. And so they try to do that.
You know who does that way more?
Who?
Corporations.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they're the ones that they're so copycat. I'm seeing it happen right now.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that.
It's so many of them.
Yeah, but
adding
they're
AI.
They're like companies. We don't know these people. We just know the company. I don't have to look at somebody's mug every time I go to YouTube and think, oh, he works for that company. No, it's unfortunate. It's the individuals. And I think it's because we relish, we want to be just like the folks we see that we perceive to be on the top. So we think we can replicate that and get the same results. Folks, it doesn't happen like that. I'm sorry. You can't do it.
Okay.
So there's this guy I watch every so often. He does true crime videos, but he does them in a more lighthearted. He uses AI images to kind of depict what happened in the situation. And he goes on one day and he's like, man, there's this guy in Spain and he's copying my videos word for word, but in Spanish. And this guy has millions of followers.
Wow.
Tons of followers, and only a quarter of his videos are this true crimes guy's videos, and then he copies like 5 other influencers word for word of their videos, flips them over. It's to make money. This guy is the top influencer in Spain, and all he does is takes another person's content, translates it into Spanish, and just reads out whatever was, the same jokes, everything. But he makes a ton of money off of it.
Because there's a market for that. We can like it, not like it.
Yeah, that's like the worst. Could you imagine being the dude that creates that content? He's not making a dime. And then he finds out some dude over in Spain is killing it off of his stuff. That would drive me insane if that.
He's not happy. He's just like, I don't even know what to do. I could probably throw copyright strikes on him, but what is TikTok going to do? He's got millions of followers.
That's whatever. You just described Elvis.
Yep.
Well, Elvis was a hero to us, but he never.
I was just saying. But I mean, this is what happens, man. You see something, it's an opportunity. This guy is. I mean, I'm impressed. He saw an opportunity. He went for it. And he's reaping the rewards. Now, the other guy that's making the video, he needs to turn his videos into Spanish and French. And
I would stop making those kind of videos.
Those all out there in those different areas. I mean, this is what's happening.
I would stop making those videos and figure out a way to make something else and learn from that experience to make sure that the next videos stuff I make, I'm the one getting paid. Not some.
You mean the original guy? You would do that? That's what
I would stop. I don't want no dude making millions off of me, and I'm sitting here
but he's
trying to get bus fare.
Millions too.
I was gonna say, isn't he making money?
He's
Yeah.
making money. He makes enough money to have like 5 or so employees. So
All right. Well, I
Yeah.
thought he was sitting in his house like stewing or something.
no, this guy has millions of followers
That's what I'm
himself.
about to
Oh,
say.
well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
then he need to get a good lawyer. Or something. I don't know.
It's okay to steal from millionaires.
No, I said he needs to get a good lawyer. That's what I said. I don't know how that works. Did I miss somebody that we haven't heard from before? I just want to make sure we say hello to everybody. And by the way, thanks for all the comments too. Even Amber got so excited she went to Caps. You know, she was like hanging in with the regular. She said,
Wow.
Caps now. What time is it? All right, yeah, we're coming close to the top of the show. And I apologize to everybody because I feel like I kind of was on one of those rant kind of things. So sorry about that.
Well, all I know is we have really
Say hello
made
to
it 'cause
Ayana.
Who?
we got a spammer in here.
Oh, who's the spammer? Oh, the person that said something nice about me.
No, Judge. I don't know, maybe y'all will see it.
Oh,
I see a spammer.
Yeah.
well, we won't point out the spammers. But anyway, final thoughts on this Friday the 13th.
Are we done?
This went fast, man. This is a hot
That
topic.
really did go fast.
Hot
Yeah,
topic.
it's
So
quite fast.
yeah, so Shashi, your final thoughts for this week.
Always
Yeah,
frozen.
so I
There he
think
goes.
you will survive. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Just make sure you're doing everything honestly with a good faith.
By the way, I'll be okay, Amber. I'll go
Oh,
and
what-
take my meds and lay down for a bit and get ready for 5:00 when I really unleash on your boy. Speaking of him, last thoughts, Mr. Lawson.
I think Pablo Picasso said it that great artist. What did they do? What it said like good artists copy, great artists steal. There you go.
Damn. Okay, that's what Pete Picasso said. Okay.
That's what Pete Picasso said.
All right. Nice. Good words from Mr. Picasso. All right, Mr. Leland.
Avoid breaking mirrors, black cats, don't go under ladders. Stay safe out there. Get a 4-leaf clover, a nice horseshoe. Stay away, stay safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
You will survive this Friday the 13th. You will.
I have a horseshoe around here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm safe. I'm good.
Wow.
I got a horseshoe.
Wow.
I feel better now. All right. And last but certainly not least, she is Madam Mic Drop, all the way from Medina. What did you call that? The beautiful something?
Oh, blissfully boring.
Blissful,
mean that?
boring.
Blissfully boring. We love it here.
Medina.
I don't know that. I don't think I have a mic drop moment. I'm going to irritate Brent by saying this week, make a baby version of yourself with AI. Try to do that. Get in there and make a baby version of yourself with AI and do a reaction video with the baby.
Mm.
And you could react.
And you
To
just
the
lost
small
your
biz
title.
break to do the small biz breakdown, and then like what was that? Talk about the original reaction. I was thinking about this the other day.
I got a
Mystery Science Theater. Remember that?
Right.
I certainly do.
They were the
I
original.
love that.
Mhm.
The original reaction.
That is
Right.
true.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, unfortunately, since you mocked me, even I'm going to have to take back your title. So I have to think
I
of a
don't-
better one for you now.
As I would love to deserve that title, it doesn't always happen. Today was one of those days where it was not gonna happen, but there was seriousness in it. I do think my advice to small business owners is please don't ignore the AI. At least learn how to do some things. Definitely learn how to make, get in there and play with it. So there was like a serious tip in there.
There's
was
an AI baby Brent in his.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah.
I think I liked Maina the first comment, but I'm not so sure. But anyway,
Check your inbox.
thanks for joining us. And last but not least, Amber, all caps again. Keep learning. I should say it more menacingly to keep learning, stay creative, practice critically thinking, continue solving problems with confidence. Damn it. All right. That's all I got. All right. Stay safe out there, like Leland says. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Until then, have a good one.